Hey guys, what's up? So this is Twilight, Tuesday or Thursday Night Twilight. I think we're going to start doing it on Thursdays. This is a drop ride. I don't want to call it a race, so we'll just call it a spirited drop ride around about a 3-mile course at the refuge. So we've been meeting at the Bike Surgeon, and we'll probably continue to do that. Anybody is welcome. I would really like to form a B group or maybe even a C group if we could get enough people. We had 5 on our first night, so here we go. Let's get started. So, boom. We weren't even to the finish line yet. We did a warm-up lap, and I believe the finish line is right here. So we weren't even through with our warm-up yet, and then Gabe attacks. Let's see that again. Oh yeah, I mean, like, I had no idea this was coming, and Gabe just put down some power really fast. My only saving grace was the fact that I would have gotten dropped before the race even started if I hadn't had 3 people to hook up behind. But once I got behind the 3 of them, the draft was so good that it was actually pretty easy to fall in. So we had Jeff behind us. I think Jeff kind of got caught out there. I don't think he was ready for it. And he did not hook back on, and that was the last we saw of Jeff for the ride, so I hated that. But I think that was maybe like a little hey, no offense, Gabe, but I was totally not ready for that. I didn't know. We didn't have a plan. It wasn't like I thought we were going to ride to the finish line. Once you cross the finish line, you can attack. So that's my suggestion for next week, just so it's fair, nobody gets caught out. You can attack at the finish line if you want to start an attack. So you can see here, I let the 3 of them rotate, or when Gabe come off, I left a hole and let him drop into it. Gabe blocks a lot of wind. He's a big guy, and getting in behind him felt great. So all through here, I'm cruising. Not a problem. So it's so important to like know what's going on ahead of you, and that's why being in the front was like such an advantage, and it's going to catch me out again later. But so through here, this is called Deer Alley Sprint, and this is where in the past I've had a finish line for like not a crit, but like a time trial that we did. So let me take a moment and talk about the competitors here. So like I said, in front of me is Gabe. Gabe's almost as heavy as me, but he's a lot stronger, a lot younger, and he's a mountain biker. He's got tons of snap and energy and great bike handler and everything. He's on a gravel bike. It's not super gravelly, but it's a 1x, so he's probably, if he's not, he's probably banging up against spinning out, in his 4611 or whatever he's got on there. So that's kind of a problem for him. In front of Gabe, we've got Nico and we've got Justin. And so of the 2, Justin I know has done quite a bit of crits, and Nico is actually fairly new to cycling. I don't think he's cycled as long. So Justin has traveled around and done some crits. Both of these guys are, I think, in their, I'm not sure how old Justin is, but they're both like in their upper 20s or something. So they're like probably almost 20 years younger than me. There's Justin coming off right now. He had just pulled a nice long stint at like 25 miles an hour or something, and now we've got Nico pulling, and Nico is by far like the skinniest of us, the most who looks more like a cyclist, but he's actually a runner and a trail runner, I believe, and has just kind of gotten into cycling sort of on the side. So he's really fast, and this year I think he has done 2 or 3 actual crits races and traveled around. I've also rode with Nico several times at a few different group rides where he's just a super cool guy. So traffic is an issue. This route is kind of a scenic little road that sometimes you'll find people like that driving really slow. So last thing we want to do is kill ourselves on this ride. So we all kind of just chilled out for a minute and made sure it was all safe and clear before we went around that car, because safety first and everything. So our other competitor of the ride, Jeff, I think Jeff's an old school rider. He's been racing probably, like when I was, I don't know, a tiny kid, maybe. I think he was racing in the 80s when I was like, 3 years. So this is Power Builder Hill, the segment. It's a pretty, like somebody's got this segment at 28 miles an hour, so it's not really much of a hill. But I figured that this would be, if one of these guys was going to attack, it would probably be here. But, you know, actually they kind of didn't. And if anything, they kind of slowed down. And so we kind of bunched up here for a minute and slowed down coming into this first corner. Now, I love cornering, so I was thinking, you know, I thought maybe I can somehow have a little advantage cornering, but these guys are all awesome, you know, incredible bike riders. They're not going to, like, have any struggles with the cornering here. So this is really the only corner on the course where we could possibly have an issue, like that car right there. It's super, super, super low traffic, but every now and again, so we have to kind of really almost have to neutralize that corner because we just don't know if somebody's coming. So I decided that since, you know, I felt really good at this point, it had been easy so far for me. I mean, it felt pretty easy, so I decided to pull. And I've always loved the puppy paw positions. It's not banned or sanctioned in our race. Ride, no drop ride. Anyway, so I get in there and start pulling, and I'm going to like 22. I mean, like, I definitely cannot. Those guys were riding faster, and I was just, you know, kind of cruising at like 22 and a half or something, 21 and a half. So this refuge course is a 4-corner square, straight lines. It barely has any climbs, and it's about as untechnical as you could possibly have. The road conditions are really excellent. Like I said, traffic is really low, so it's a really, really good training place. It's got a lot of Strava segments. It's got a lot of riders who ride these Strava segments. It's got a lot of runners out here. But for the most part, you know, you might ride laps without even seeing anyone. So this is really too long and not technical enough to really make for a good crit, because I really think that it's so long and straight that it kind of becomes more of a fitness challenge. And really, it should be that anybody should be able to stay in the draft on these straights. You know, I mean, like if you know, getting dropped on these straights is it shouldn't really be happening, but it can happen, and it's going to happen before you know it here. So I pulled way longer than I should have. Like I said, again, I felt good. It didn't seem to be stressing me out at all. And I was just cruising along, and I just assumed, since nobody come around me, that those guys might have kind of, you know, decided to kind of chill for a little bit. I mean, we were going to do 5 laps. This is lap 1. And we're coming up on what would be turn 3 here. And so I decide to go out and take this really, really wide, unnecessarily wide, just because I thought, you know, and I decided to put in a little dig here. So, and my dig is, I'm going to emphasize little. I just went up to about 300 watts for maybe a little bit coming off that corner and sped up. And here comes, wow, look at that. Boom. So my Garmin cut off right here, and I lost the rest of this right here. Now what's going to happen is that I get off my puppy paw position, and I hesitate for a minute, and I look around. Gabe comes around me, and I think, no problem, I'll catch on Gabe again. This is just like that starting attack, but it turned out that Justin's attack, it was more sustained. He got on the front, and he pulled a lot harder. And Gabe didn't quite catch on. He was probably like 50 foot back, and he wasn't catching on. So eventually I decided to go around Gabe, and I started pulling this in, and then I ran out of gas. In fact, I thought I was having like a little mini heart attack. So I just pretty much pulled the plug at that point. Gabe came around me, and it looked like he might get caught back on. I mean, he was close, but by the time it was too far for me to see, and I was just dead anyway. So I noodled around for a while. I rode 1 lap, really slow, just letting them catch back. And Nico was in the lead, probably a couple hundred feet ahead, coming into the second corner, and where I waited up on him. So when Justin came around, I took off. He caught on to me, and eventually I pulled like I was closing the gap, and I felt better at this point, having had a lap off, and I was closing the gap on Nico, and I was pretty excited because I was like, all right, man, I'm going to get Justin back in this race. And, it kind of occurred to me that wasn't really fair, to do that. But at the same time, I'm like, this is just for fun. And really, I just wanted to ride hard and see if I could catch him. So I was like, huge smile on my face, and I was just having so much fun thinking I'm going to catch him, and it was hurting, but you can ignore pain when your goal is like, when it looks possible and it looks like you can do it. And right about the time I decided I was going to catch him, Justin behind me yells, don't catch him, I don't want you to catch him, don't pull me up there, which in a way I was like, oh man, it kind of shut me down, but I totally understood it, because like I said, it really wasn't right of me to pull him back on. Nico at the end was like, dude, you should have just pulled him up. It would have made the ending a lot more exciting. After I kind of shut down there, Justin pulled in front of me. I remembered to hit my GoPro, so I got a few seconds, and then my battery died, so I definitely got to remember to charge my GoPro between the next one. So Nico took the win, broke away uncontested. Justin was second. I was a lap behind, so Gabe was third, I was fourth, and Jeff was fifth. And it was a really exciting, fun time, even though, I really technically only raced about 2 laps, right around 2.5 laps, but still, It was definitely awesome to actually be in a real race. What I like so much about this kind of practice crit sort of format is that there's consequences for getting dropped. It's not like a group ride where, if you decide, you're going to get dropped, you want to get dropped, there will be a regroup at some point. You can kind of get back together. It's just for fun. This is just for fun too, but there is consequences. If you get dropped, you are not on the lead lap anymore. And then at that point, you could keep riding like Gabe did. Gabe was only like about maybe 2 minutes behind those guys at the most. He rode a real solid 5 laps instead of me, who rode, took an entire lap basically off just to recover. But hey, I'm older than those guys, so I should get a little, I should get a handicap. I should get like a lap off every race. I think that'd be fair. Hey, anyway, we're doing this again. Like I said, I hope to get a B group. If you would love to come out, check us out on Facebook, Twilight. I'll link it on there, Twilight. It's going to be Thursday Night Twilight, the Refuge. Starts at 6:30. We meet up at the Bike Surgeon, and I'm really looking forward to next Thursday. I'm hoping we get some more riders out there, and we can have a pretty exciting race. No drop group ride. Later.